Hi, I'm Robin Wentworth.
And I'm Tim Wentworth, CEO of EverNorth. Express Scripts, which is now a part of EverNorth, has been a proud supporter of College Bound for many years. And we are delighted to be with you tonight in support of a cause that's important to us personally, important to St. Louis, and vitally important to the students it serves.
We believe in the power of education to transform lives. A degree gives you options, opportunities, and the power to create your own destiny. But the path to college is much steeper for first-generation and lower-income students. Tonight, you'll hear wonderful stories about the work that College Bound does to make that path easier.
We'd like to thank Scott, Jenny, and the entire College Bound team for the incredible work you do in preparing students for academic and personal success. And we'd like to encourage those of you who can to please join us in supporting College Bound and the students it serves. As you'll hear this evening, your donations are helping to build brighter futures, a stronger community, and turning dreams into reality.
Robin, Tim, and everyone at EverNorth, thank you. You know, it is your partnership that has made College Bound what it is today. And welcome to everyone for being here tonight for College Bound's Cap and Gown Gala. We are so thrilled to have you here tonight to hear the stories of the amazing young people that we are lucky enough to support. You know, many of these students have experienced graduations recently, from high school to college to even graduate school. And I don't think I need to say how much pride we have in every summit that they reach, in every milestone that they achieve, and we are just so impressed with what they've been able to do. And were I to give a commencement address, I would say all of the things that you normally hear at one of these things. Be bold, go forward, learn about yourself, set your values, but be open to new experiences, and know that we are here throughout because your success is our success. I would say these things first because, well, they're true, and while they might be a little bit boring, our students deserve what everyone gets. They get the chance to feel good about what they've just achieved and to bask in the collective aura of achievement. That is what every student deserves. But what I likely wouldn't say is that their success has likely been harder earned than people in their class. And that if they're going to college, it's very likely they'll be competing with classmates who come from school districts who have significantly greater resources. They might be the only person of color in a college class, and that their university might not have the resources that they need at that point in time. I would likely also not say that if they're going into the job market, it's highly likely that they will be interviewing for a position across the desk, not with someone who shares their racial and ethnic background, nor who knows the first thing about the neighborhood that they grew up in. Now, I wouldn't say these things because they're not true. They are. But to focus on systemic inequality during a college or a high school graduation, well, it'd likely be a downer. And our students deserve something positive. But what our team at College Bound would tell them is this: you have untapped gifts. We love you and we are here throughout for you. And that we are willing to bring significant resources to bear on your success. Resources made necessary by decades of systemic inequality. And that these resources are important if we want to change systems. And that the first step in changing systems is improving what is possible. And what is possible? Well, it is possible that a student, because they come from a low-income background, that their parents might not have completed college, that they might be in the foster care system, or have experienced homelessness, or have a learning disability, that these students can succeed at rates commensurate to their high-income peers if they have equal resources. And how do we know that's possible? We know that because we have seen it, and it's repeated year over year. Tonight, students will be sharing their stories. A couple of them were this close to failing out of college. Some have experienced depression, anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts. That one, even with a learning disability, was able to become the student body president in his college and is going to an Ivy League graduate school. And another who had to take care of elderly grandparents in high school. I want you to know that both because of their challenges and in spite of them, they persisted. They succeeded. Now, I want to say something that I've said many times before, that while, of course, the students you will be hearing from tonight are special, what should be true should not be special. That our work at College Bound, the secret sauce, is ensuring that we have resources that are aligned to a timely and thorough intervention made possible by a depth of relationship. We see that this works. Tonight, I want you to feel the pride in Naya's irrepressibility, in Jordan's bright future, in Eric's maturity and vision. You know, in a year that's rocked us all, your support fuels our success. And I ask tonight that you give generously so that students like Paige and Chris and Anaya can continue to prove what is possible. And I want to say thank you to all of our sponsors that are listed here on this screen, as well as our amazing university sponsors. Thank you for being there, and thank you for caring. I'm going to turn it over to Russell and Alexis, two College Bound staff members, who are going to give you a little bit of insight into how we do our work and into how we prove what is possible. Thank you.
My history with College Bound is pretty long. I've been involved since I was a high schooler at Roosevelt, graduated, went to college, graduated there and came to College Bound as an AmeriCorps member, and now I'm a staff member, working with our high schoolers, basically doing a lot of college counseling.
College Bound is a college prep and college completion program. You know, we start with our students in their sophomore year in high school, and we work with them all the way up into and through college.
I would say College Bound is a village or support system of people whose end game is for you to get through college and ultimately end the cycle of generational poverty in students' lives. I think the biggest value is in the kind of like one-on-one or in-depth approach. You know, when I think about a college counselor in a high school, they've got a larger caseload, whereas College Bound has the time and effort to be able to get a drilled down approach, to not just think about where the student is going to go to college, but the academic barriers that come with that, the mental health barriers that come with that.
What that looks like in our high school department is a lot of preparation for college. So core building you up as a student, teaching you how to have good study habits, things of that nature. And then our 11th grade teams, they also do ACT prep. And then completion is making sure that you get to college and stay in college.
Any financial or personal barriers that come with that, and we do our best to help find resources that alleviate those as much as possible.
Anything that has to do with FAFSA or scholarship, things of that nature. And then I'd like to then add in that mental health services is that wraparound services that allows them to get treatment for mental health as they go through that process. We already know there's a stigma for mental health in general, so a lot of people are not seeking the treatment that they need. And so for us to have it embedded at College Bound, again, we're already building those relationships with our students. Typically, a lot of our students will feel more comfortable to, again, speak to their coaches or managers or come directly to, one of us and, ask for services. And at the very beginning of the global pandemic, I think there was a lot of factors that came into play, whether that was, people losing their jobs, family members getting sick, or social distancing. Anyone who doubts that mental health services is appropriate, that's crucial to their learning experiences. If they're not able to regulate their emotions and become, socialized individuals, they may succeed in their academics, but where is that going to take them in life?
I think if there's ever a quality that I would choose for like our students to really develop, it's going to be confidence, always developing that sense of self-worth. It infects their writing and how strong that is. It infects the programs they look into and how confident they are they can get into those. It's gonna make them feel confident about going to a tutor. It's gonna make them feel confident about the work that they put into their major, to allow them to apply for internships, to study abroad experiences, to jumping out there when they feel most uncomfortable. And also, last but not least, when they're surrounded by people who didn't think they could do this in the first place, they have developed that self-confidence from within to know that they're gonna do it regardless of what other people say.
My name is Naya Harris. I attend Missouri State University. My major is Sports and Entertainment Management. I will be graduating in December of 2021. I got my confidence from my grandpa. My mom passed away when I was 4, so my grandpa took custody of me. He always told me, nothing in the world is free. If you want something, you have to go out there and get it. When College Bound came to me, my counselor told me everything about it. I'm like, do you really think I need it? First, I wasn't thinking about college. When I started going to meetings and everything at school, I was like, okay, this is a cool program. And then I started going to meetings at the building. I was like, okay, they're serious about helping me in life, wanting me to succeed. I don't know any other organization just stays with you through college. I chose to come to Missouri State University. When I came here with College Bound, I knew the first visit, I knew I was coming here, no doubt.
Missouri State is helped by College Bound, and College Bound is helped by Missouri State. Every College Bound student who comes to Missouri State gets a scholarship. Every student from College Bound who comes to Missouri State gets one-on-one attention from myself or somebody on my staff.
I didn't expect classes to be as hard. In high school, I was a good student. I didn't have problems with grades or anything.
They come in with, I did well in high school, so therefore college will be easy. And that's not necessarily the case. She struggled a little bit, didn't do so great, came back under probation her second semester, continued to struggle, and so she was suspended from the school academically.
When I got on suspension, I went to Ozark Technical Community College for 1 semester, and I made all A's, and then I came back to Missouri State the following semester of my junior year. When I need help, I'll call Lynn. Any coach at College Bound is the best. They'll help you, no doubt about it.
Because there are times when, you do poorly in a class, but it doesn't mean that you're not cut out for it. What I would do as a coach is really sit down and talk with them and, discover what are their challenges that might be in the way of them focusing on academics.
She got the grades she needed to be back in academic standing with the university, got readmitted, and has stayed in good standing and has continued to actually improve every semester since she's returned, and is doing really well. At a university our size, we have a lot of resources, but to the point where an individual student might have no idea where to go or what to do. I try to make sure that every student that I work with, that they get exactly what they need for their situation.
You have to have those type of resources, those people that care about you, that feels like family. Like Lynn waking up at 7 a.m. in the morning and be like, okay, I can help you at this time, and you can call them whenever.
Some of my students are super shy and they have a hard time reaching out, but Naya will call me, text me, and she will find any opportunity to, explore her strengths and share them with, whatever organization she would want to be a part of.
In 2019 of December, I applied for 4 internships. COVID hit, we had to go home. Campus was clear. Dang, I really wanted that internship. I wanted to be hands-on with things. August came and I got to be a part of the Golden State Warriors internship conference. I learned a lot about the industry and everything. I knew I wanted to do sports, manage a football team. That's kind of lit.
Naya's confidence and fearlessness is a little scary because I've never seen this in a student at all. And the way that she is willing to go after whoever, and that's really where she finds her success, is connecting with others.
Never Stop is my social media page. I interview people, like either it's people that's in college that play sports or NFL players or WNBA women to network with different people in the industry that's actually doing things and getting to know like where they're coming from. I learned not to let COVID stop me from doing what I'm doing. I know a lot of people have been held back because of COVID, but if you enjoy something, you're gonna push through it.
Every student's gonna get punched really hard, whether that's with academic stuff, life stuff, home stuff. What you do with that is gonna be what defines you. And she is defining on who she is and who she wants to be. It's amazing, and she will be amazing.
Graduation day, I'm gonna cry. I'm literally gonna pour tears because it's like, I could have stopped a long time ago when I got on suspension. Like, I didn't even have to come back to Missouri, so I can just say, forget school, forget college, I'm on suspension. But I kept going and going and going. If you put your mind to something and want to do something, you're gonna succeed in life.
My name is Jordan Barber. I attend St. Louis Community College, Merrimack, and I'm planning to graduate in May. When I think about applying to schools in high school, all I can really think about is College Bound, because I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't want to do it, honestly. It just seemed like so much work. There was this big presentation by College Bound where they just would talk about the opportunities, and I'm like, I'm a freshman, what does college even have to do with me right now? But it was so many new things and so many different challenges that I just wasn't used to. We started ACT prep. That was helpful, but it was something. It was a lot of work. I know school visits were a lot during the beginning, learning about financial aid packages, when to apply to schools, and just learning so early helped me to be ready for senior year. Once I got the Hillman Scholarship, just applying to that, I was so nervous and everything. But to find out that the Hillmans are not just a scholarship, but they're involved, they're a networking opportunity. So it was really special to me. Choosing to go to Mizzou was a very big deal for me and my family, and just because I was going to college, honestly. I made the choice to go to Mizzou really just because of the money. I was excited, I believe, on the outside, but inside I was very nervous, very scared, specifically for my mental health, because being away from my family, I knew it wasn't gonna be good. It just felt like, okay, why am I here anyway? I'm not good enough. How did I make it here? It made me doubt myself a lot. It was really disappointing. I was disappointed in myself. My college-bound coach during that time was Russell. Best coach I could have had at that time. Caring, constantly checking on me, knew what I was going through, came down there, but he was as much support as he could be. Coming back from Mizzou, I came back, it was honestly, the best word I can think of is embarrassing. They did this whole thing for me when I was in high school. They did this whole thing for everybody that got a full ride. We came out in front of the assembly, all these things, and because at that time it was still okay, I actually could go back to Mizzou. Or I could transfer, or I could just not go to school anymore if it's gonna be this much on my health. And from then, I started talking to Russell about how I wanted to transfer to STLCC. So figuring that out and transferring quick, it was from December to January, I was back in school. It was hard, but it was really a moment of resilience for me. I didn't know I was capable of such things. But I got back in and kept going. Really, the main thing growth-wise that I learned through the whole process from high school to college to now is self-reflection. My spirituality is just everything to me. And if I don't have that, I don't have mental health. If I don't have mental health, I can't do anything. And that's what I learned when I was at Mizzou. I realized Jordan was a nobody without God. Jordan was nobody before God, and Jordan's not gonna be nobody without God. So I had to really take the time to be like, well, who am I? What do I want to be? What is it that I actually enjoy doing? And the one constant has always been singing.
Jordan is really one of the most intelligent students that I've worked with in 23 years of teaching. But class material didn't always come easy for her. We know at times there are struggles. At times there are things that are holding them back. So it's occasionally having conversations with them to make sure that they're doing okay and that they're finding ways to succeed.
From the beginning, just meeting him, like, he just tried his best to make everybody feel comfortable. I could tell, especially when COVID hit, he like, well, if you need any other resources, and there's a music scholarship, and just giving us all our options instead of just being a choir director. He tries to give us as much as we need as students and as people.
She didn't really need encouragement to work harder. She identified right away that I don't get this. And I remember the first time, though, that Jordan had that reaction in a music theory class. The next class, I saw her with work completed, assignments completed, questions ready to ask. From that moment on, Jordan was asking questions in every class. And I noticed that she dug in. That was her natural instinct, that if she doesn't understand something, she digs in until she gets it, until she learns it. Really until she learns it well.
You gotta look at yourself and be like, well, what is it that I can do next time? You're supposed to learn from your own experiences. And that's something I've always been taught to do. And as far as with Russell at College Bound during Mizzou, I was so open with him because College Bound always made me feel like I could be. You know, I never felt like, oh, I gotta hide something. If I get a bad grade, they're gonna know about it because I wanna know how to fix it. I applied to Webster, I applied to FAMU, and I applied to Howard, and I got into Webster so far.
Oh, as Jordan moves on, she needs to keep doing what she's doing. She knows how to work hard and how to keep working hard, and she'll be fine.
I feel pretty ready. Like I'm excited to see what's next, because I know that spiritually I'm finna grow. I know mentally I'm still going, and I know that academically, you know, what I want to do in life, singing, all these things are just gonna continue to grow. I can't go anywhere but up. I think the way that College Bound has helped me most is just support, period, because they've always been there. Like, thank you for being there. Thank you for like enduring with me. Thank you for believing in me when like I was struggling to believe in myself. That I really was grateful for that.
Stone that the builders rejected, the stone that the builders rejected, the stone that the builders rejected, became the cornerstone of a whole new world. Never can our journey fail. The little child will lead the way, whose eyes are filled with the shining light of whom the night is bright as day. The stone that the builders rejected became the cornerstone of a...
I'm Brian Henry, and I've had the pleasure of emceeing Cap and Gown for the last few years. I'm here tonight to ask you to join my wife Julia and I in making a gift to College Bound. You'll be joining many others, and I'm excited to share reflections from some of them with you tonight. At College Bound, we think of our students as our future peers. As Jordan, Naya, and their classmates celebrate their graduations, we want to show some of our supporters at the same moment in their lives. Here's Shelley Pittman, who earned her associate's degree at Vincennes University and her bachelor's at Ball State. She went on to serve as a victim's assistant administrator and counselor for a prosecutor's office. Dr. Jeff Pittman is chancellor of St. Louis Community College, an exemplary partner to College Bound. Jeff's bachelor's from Indiana University and his doctorate from Indiana State University positioned him to become a teacher and leader at the university and community college levels. Both Shelley and Jeff used their degrees to pursue their shared goal of building careers that allow them to help others find their way to a happy and successful life. Dan Miller is Managing Director of U.S. Compliance Training at CIBC and a member of College Bound's Board of Directors. Here he is in 2007 receiving his bachelor's degree from Webster University, the first in his family to make that accomplishment. He shared this reflection. My degree made me appreciate that very few students are able to navigate the college application process and graduate from college without a lot of help from others. There have been so many people that helped me along my journey, but not everyone has access to these resources to be successful. Ronald Allen Norwood, Esquire, and Professor Kimberly Jade Norwood are two of our co-chairs tonight. In addition to his work at Lewis Rice, Ron is vice chair of the College Bound Board, and he and Kim have been part of the CB family for over a decade. You can feel the joy in these photos. Kim describes navigating college and law school as an improbable journey that began in Harlem and culminated in achieving a dream that some of her grade school teachers and even a college counselor suggested would be impossible. Having those 2 degrees allowed her to realize her childhood dream of being a teacher, ultimately a law school professor at Washington University in St. Louis. I want to quote Ron here verbatim, partly because he's a lawyer, but really because he says it best. As a child beneficiary of federal public assistance and public housing, my admission to the University of Illinois in Champaign was my avenue of escape and the pathway to my success, opening doors and providing opportunities that for me were previously unimaginable. With a solid college academic foundation, I was able to attend law school at the University of Missouri and Columbia, where I ultimately thrived. My college and law school experiences launched me into a successful litigation law practice. But beyond these successes, the friendships developed in college and law school have been extremely meaningful, and the overall experience has made me a more well-rounded human being. These degrees have also placed me in a position to serve as a mentor to countless high school, college, and law students. All of these community leaders have made a pledge to support College Bound tonight. Some of the words Ron, Kim, and Dan used as they thought back on their paths as first-generation college students really stand out. Improbable, impossible, unimaginable. And on the other side of that, you hear help, resources, dreams, faith. We all need these things. We all deserve these things. That's why my wife Julia and I support College Bound, and I hope you will too. Way back in fall 2019, College Bound set a $1 million goal for Cap and Gown 2020. When COVID hit, the team revised that goal down due to all the uncertainties and hardships people were facing, but the need remained. Last June, you helped us come within striking distance of that original $1 million goal. Tonight, I'm sure we'll do the same thing. Our sponsors and supporters have gotten us over halfway to our goal already. Whatever you can contribute will help ensure that College Bound stays strong, not just today, but into 2028, when the sophomores joining the CB family this year walk across that graduation stage. Information on how to give is in your programs and on the screen. Thank you for being here, thank you for caring, and thank you for giving generously.
Hi, I'm Kimbrough, Chairman and CEO of Midwest BankCentre, St. Louis's second largest privately held bank. At Midwest BankCentre, we often talk about the importance of banking your values, because when you bank your values, you give people access to credit that gives them access to economic activity. We are so proud to partner with College Bound on this year's gala, and more generally all throughout the year, because they too are active promoters of pathways to prosperity for young people. Those young people they support, those young people who were like me when I was that age. Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you for supporting College Bound.
I'm Cliff Smart, the president of Missouri State University, and I'm also a co-chair of Cap and Gown. You know, at Missouri State, we've made a commitment to being a leader in diversity, not just in our community, but in the state as a whole. And one of the ways we've done that is working in partnership with organizations like College Bound. It helps us create a welcoming environment for all of our students of color. We've been working with College Bound for over 10 years, and I look forward to continuing that partnership way into the future.
We all know that higher education is the economic engine of our country, and there's nothing more powerful than a college education for individuals who come from low to moderate income communities. We are so excited to support College Bound in the work that they do. We absolutely hope that you will dig deep tonight to support their mission to help young people get on the path to shared prosperity. Thank you all so much for being here.
Now it's your turn. Go to the website and make a gift to make these dreams into reality. We thank you for joining us tonight, for listening to the stories of these amazing students. But stay tuned, there's more. You'll be able to see a student panel proceeding just after this, so stay on and it'll start momentarily.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for our first ever College Bound student panel for Cap and Gown. I'm Scott Beyer, President and CEO of College Bound, and I'm so excited for you to meet 4 of our amazing young people. So with that, I want to get right to it. So thank you all for being here tonight. I really appreciate this. I really appreciate for you guys taking the time to do this. And so I think a first way to start this out is just introducing yourself. Who are you? What have you recently done in school? What's next for you?
Got you. So, my name is Christopher Staton. I just graduated from Community College, Forest Park, and my major is General Transfer Studies, but I hope to go on to another university that's focusing on architecture.
Hello, my name is Anaya Richardson. I graduated from Carnahan High School of the Future. I will be attending Lawrence University in the fall, and I don't know about a major yet. I'm very undecided right now, but I'm working towards to be an occupational therapist.
My name is Eric Johnson. I'm a recent graduate of Rusk College in Holly Springs, Mississippi, which is a historically black college, majoring in mass communications, and then in the fall I'll be heading to Columbia University in the city of New York for a master's in nonprofit management.
Hi, my name is Paige Campbell. I recently graduated from Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience, and in the fall I will be attending Washington University in St. Louis, and I'll be studying French and psychology.
So guys, congratulations on all that. You guys are all going on to something great. You've done something great already. I hope you feel that accomplishment and have been able to feel all the positive vibes from family members and supporters. Has that been like that for you all?
Definitely.
It's very nice.
Well, let's stick on the idea of accomplishments. You know, one thing I would love to hear. You know, Eric, let's start with you. Why don't you tell us about, tell us something in college that you feel like really proud of, something that you've achieved.
So I was a Student Government Association president. So that's like the highest ranking position on the campus. So that's helping make the menu for the cafeteria, to being a trustee member on the board, just trying to help make decisions, best informed, and be the advocate and a voice for the student body.
Wow, that's great.
So I'm guessing you was in charge of the meal plan, huh?
No, so at Russ we didn't have a meal plan, so we had a generic, menu. So trying to take in consideration students' dietary needs, the elevation, what they want to have, and then also like the different types of food styles from different parts of the United States, trying to put that in consideration.
So Anaya, how about you? Tell us about something you feel really proud of having accomplished in high school.
Something I feel really proud of is, I'll probably say outgrowing people. Like, I know in high school we get caught up in a lot of like drama and people that's just not good for us. And I'm proud of just outgrowing those people and focusing on my academics and just elevating, I'd say.
So how'd that work out for you with your academics?
Good. It's going great.
Yeah?
Good, yes.
Good class rank?
Yes.
Good AC? Well done, then. Way to ignore those people.
Yes.
Right? Fantastic. Well, guys, like everyone, I don't know about you, but I have these conversations with people all the time, and everyone is talking about COVID still. We're 15 months into what has happened, and this has been a big challenge for us in the past year. So Paige, I'd like to hear from you. Can you maybe tell us something, like what is one personal way that like COVID has affected you, and then how did you deal with that?
So how I got through COVID was definitely with my family. It was really difficult on my mental health, especially trying to find medication that was best suited for me. As someone with anxiety and depression, I have to work twice as hard as others, like as my classmates. Not all of them struggle with anxiety or mental health concerns. But the way I got through that was finding the right medication, as I said, and also going to therapy and speaking with my family and learning to have healthy coping mechanisms instead of just bottling it all inside.
Yeah, I think during COVID, a lot of people that once that happened, it could just exacerbate things that are already there. So it's really good that you had the awareness and the ability to make those changes. Well done.
Thank you.
Chris, how about you? So when COVID hit, what did you do? Tell us some of the challenges that you had with that and how did you deal with them?
There were many challenges that I faced over the Rona outbreak, but I'd like to focus on one, and that being isolation. When it comes to people, I believe that we are very, very social creatures. Even the strongest of us can say, oh, I don't need people, I am very to myself, but leave them alone for less than a year, and their mental health will really take a drop. I don't know if that's backed by science, but let's just say it is. Having to be by yourself and not being able to interact with everybody that you've normally done and get that energy bouncing off between all of you, it can be very, very draining. Mm-hmm. And the way that I've adapted to that, I believe, was to slow down, to build myself up more, to dive into me.
That's great. And how'd that work out for you?
Really good.
When you dove in, what did you learn?
I've learned so much about myself. I've learned that I put too much on myself. I try too hard to be a perfectionist, to deliver on what I feel should be an amazing, a C+ performance. C for Chris. Definitely don't want to go below average. But I try too hard to be a perfectionist. I try to stay up way too late. I wouldn't say I've been diagnosed with depression, but there have been times where I felt that and where I've taken therapy and stress management classes I'm more self-reflective on me. Mm-hmm. And I believe with that, I've understood a lot more about myself and been able to adapt better to situations, to understand when I need to go plus ultra, but when I need to pull it back a little bit.
That's great. You know, one of the things people are wanting to know is that different educational institutions, high schools, colleges, they all dealt with coronavirus in dramatically different ways, right? Anaya, tell us what was your educational experience like as a senior in high school this past year, and what did Carnahan, how was that handled by the school?
Well, so we did everything over Zoom, you know. I would say starting off, it was very stressful, and it was very just too much, honestly, because around August time, that's when we started. My brother, he had gotten in like a little accident. He was shot multiple times, so it was very like a lot of stress on my family. And you know, like we had to go to school, get computers, need parents' signatures. You know, sometimes my parents couldn't come up there for that because of what was going on. But and you know, I didn't really talk to many people, so they didn't really know. So I don't know. But other than that, after I got through that, it was okay. It still was a little difficult because some of the teachers didn't really know how to teach me through the computer. Like, I'm a visual learner, and I just kind of wasn't getting it through Zoom. So sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad.
So
but
you were not in class at all the entire year?
The whole year I was not in class.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how's your family doing with everything?
Oh, my brother, he's amazing now. He healed. He's doing way better now. So we're all blessed and happy now.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, how about at Rust? How was the pandemic handled, and how'd you guys do?
Yeah, so at the beginning, we all got sent home. And it was pretty rough at the beginning, just trying to adapt to everything. But it was pretty, I think, overall, you know, they got our feedback. They took consideration on how everybody did and came back stronger in the fall. In the fall, they only allow sophomores and freshmen back. And then for some students who live in rural Mississippi, who might not have access to internet, or students who live farther out that might have a little bit of trouble at home, for them to come back. It went pretty well. I think they did some good things, like having us get weekly tested and for us to feel and have a safe environment. I think that, for some institutions, it gave them a chance to take in consideration, are they ready for the future? And also put them in situations where they have to be ready for the future. So I think online classes, keeping that going, investing in that type of environments. And I also think globally for the world, it put us in a position that we have to look for the future. So I think that's how it really went. But I'm glad that they took the time to, evaluate and said that we need to do some stuff better.
And you were very involved in a lot of activities. What was it like? Like, were there guidance on how frequently you could meet, where you could meet, distancing? How was that from the school?
Well, yeah, I think it was really hard. So, you try to, make events for people on campus and make sure they're safe. But people that's at home, doing stuff for them. I think the biggest thing was people who are sophomores and juniors in their majors, that are they getting that interaction they need to be able to get that timeline and get that exposure in their majors. So that was one of the biggest concerns about that. And definitely for people in my school who are 3-year science majors who want to go to law school, who want to go to medical school or do other things like that, how can they get those lab hours and stuff like that. So it was just a conversation about how we evaluating these different majors and making sure everyone gets that education they need.
It's been a really challenging 15 months, especially, I've been very impressed with how schools have adapted and really tried to put what can we do right on this side, and it has not been easy. Yeah. I don't know, Paige, how about at Collegiate Biosciences? Did you get any chance to go back into class?
It was a personal decision, but I have a large family, so I thought it was safest before I was vaccinated to stay home and do virtual. So I didn't go back on campus until probably a year later to drop off some like belongings from school. It was very different than being physically in the classroom. I honestly don't work well online. At first I was very happy that we were out of school and I could just be at home because I am a pretty quiet person, but it was difficult. It's definitely something that no one really prepared for, and I'm just glad that everyone got through it.
Yeah, it's interesting when people ask me that question about college-bound students. When they were asking in the fall, I was saying, man, our high school attendance is crazy high. I mean, you all know that your coaches went above and beyond to try to make classes really fun and dopey and do really cool activities. And you all were coming with some fire every week. And then probably around February, those tricks didn't really work anymore. And everyone was sick of being on Zoom, right? When you're I've been on 5 Zoom classes all day and then I got my college-bound class at 6. I just know people, it's not the ideal way to learn. And I'm very glad that we're getting back to something resembling normal this fall. Mm-hmm. So speaking of this fall, what is one thing, Chris, let's start with you. Tell us about this, about your past and how you decided architecture, STLCC, and then what you want to do in the near future.
Okay. So when I was, I would say about 10-ish. Yeah. Around that time, I was in a school. I think it was, I forgot the name of the school.
Okay.
It'll come back to me. But me and a few other kids, we were picked because we could think outside of the box to go to Washington University in St. Louis and do this thing called an Alberti program, where we would meet at the campus, we would go in, and we would have lectures from actual architects. They would teach us about all the ins and outs. I wouldn't even say all of them, but it's a lot. Mm-hmm. But we would be taught about the things that go into architecture, and we would be let loose to go into the other rooms, take some cardboard, take some hot glue guns, hopefully not burn yourself, because that sucks,
all right,
and build our own models. And I was doing that from 4th grade all the way up until I graduated, but it got a lot more interesting because as you get into the higher grades and then as you get older, and maybe we should give you guys a little bit of something more difficult to do. Mm-hmm. And from that, I've always enjoyed building. ever since I was little, playing with Lego blocks, playing with Duplo blocks, which I wonder if they still got those out.
Oh, they do. I've got 2 kids.
Hey.
Plenty of pieces of sharp plastic to step on.
Ooh, that's a doozy. But I've always enjoyed building. And from that, I felt like architecture and things associated with that would kind of be the move for me. So when it came to me in my final years, or midway through high school, I was told, oh, you guys should go to community college. That way you can do your electives, get those out of the way where they're cheaper, and then go into the big boy college where you can really have a dance with the devil and doing things of that nature when it comes to the harder classes.
Now, Chris, you are in a special program for College Bound. We have the full service program that starts with students sophomore year, but you became part of College Bound in your first year at STLCC at Forest Park, right?
Correct.
So what was it like? Tell us about the types of things that you did once you joined the College Bound program at STLCC.
I would say the things that I did were very, very helpful. They were doing things like teaching you how to keep up with your FAFSA, keep up with your financial aid, how to fill out for scholarships, which has definitely been helpful for me. How to keep on top of tasks. And which is very important, because when you're going through college having to deal with so many classes at the same time, having to deal with growing, it's very difficult. And sometimes some things can slip through the cracks. What they do is they definitely keep you up to task on things, making sure you got your P's and your Q's straight.
Well, I'm going to come back to you and talk about a little bit more about that. But let's go, Paige, back to you. So since Chris was just talking about Washington University, what are you looking forward to most?
One thing that I'm really looking forward to is research opportunities, because I want to study language and psychology. And I will be studying French, and I would love to work in a lab and do original research that hasn't been done before, which it is a little difficult to get those type of opportunities, but at WashU being a research institution, I'm really excited to collaborate with others and do the research I really want to do. I decided to go into French because when I was younger, my mother enrolled me and my younger sister at St. Louis Language Immersion School for French, and we only spoke in French there. And when I went into middle school, French was not offered, and I always just had that, like a pull in me saying, oh, you should go do French. And when I was in high school, my school only offers 2 languages, which was Latin and Spanish. Because I go to such a small high school, went to such a small high school, French wasn't offered. So for 2 years, I was emailing back and forth with my counselor, speaking to her all the time. I was like, please, I want to take French. I enjoy Latin, but French is really what I want to do. So eventually, during my junior and senior year, I took French.
Très bien. Good job. Let's go to you, Eric. So tell us about the program you're getting ready to embark on at Columbia and what you're most looking forward to about living on the Lower East Side and being there.
Yeah, I think it was a big step, like choosing what graduate program I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
I think the Columbia program was the program I was most comfortable with. But I think the big part was going to a historically black college and university that I tend to think that people might look at my resume or the things I do and not give me the credit that I have, like the value that I have is like this, but it's really this. So I really want to go to show, to show people that, I have this experience and I can compete on a higher level. That, an indicator of knowledge is not just going to college, but, that diversity in thoughts and ideas, stuff like that. So I felt like going to school in Mississippi, growing up in St. Louis, that maybe I want to go to a bigger city and be able to be immersed in different cultures and get that experience. So I thought that would be a good step, for not only for me, but people that come after me and give people that exposure.
Well, tell us about the program that you're doing too.
Yeah, so nonprofit management, I'm thinking that I'm going to do my focus area in international organizations. I feel that, when it comes to problems going on nowadays, that, you deal with a problem now, but then you segue that way into dealing with other problems. And I'm thinking right now, I'm interning with the International Rescue Commission as a refugee empowerment intern. So like when immigrants come to the country, helping them find jobs, building their resumes and stuff like that, that I think ultimately that I want to work in, like government, hopefully be Secretary of State, be president, or even being an ambassador. So, right now, I've been involved with the United Nations Assembly of America.
Okay.
Definitely here in St. Louis, but also with their youth program. And I'm hoping that these experiences right now, cultivate something in the future to be able to help more people.
Wow, that's amazing. Nonprofit management, I'll tell you, if you ever want to come back to St. Louis, there's a place here that I know called College Bound that always needs leaders. So we can talk about that down the line. Anaya, what about you? You're going to Lawrence. You're going to Appleton, Wisconsin.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to there?
I'll say the experience. It's really different. Like my whole life, I grew up with people that look like me, and I'm going somewhere with people that don't look like me. So I have to adapt, get used to it. Yeah. Explore out there. It's just something new, and I like the experience. I like new things, so I'm excited for that. And they also have a occupational therapy program that also collabs with WashU in like 2 or 3 years. So that's nice, I guess.
How's your winter coat?
I don't even want to talk about it. Just know it's long and furry.
Okay, good. Wisconsin is not. I mean, St. Louis can get cold, but not Wisconsin.
I know.
Cold.
I was not looking forward to it.
Well, guys, I want you to. I'm interested in this question. So maybe you could think of, in what way do you feel you've benefited from being part of College Bound? Like what is one of your biggest takeaways from the work that's happened there? And why don't we go right back to you?
I'll say one of the biggest takeaways I have gotten from College Bound was becoming more comfortable with myself and being more outgoing. Like even with doing this panel, like before College Bound, I was very shy, and I'm still a little shy.
Okay.
But College Bound had helped me get out the shyness, a little bit, I guess. Even with going to Lawrence, it'll be helpful because, again, I won't know anyone. So I'll have to kind of break out of my shell and meet new people. I'd say College Bound helped me a lot with that.
So can you remember a time, like something that happened that got you out of your shell?
I would say when we went camping. So everyone that comes to College Bound has to go on the camping trip. I wasn't really excited about that because I didn't know anyone. No one knew each other, honestly. Right. But when we got there, we were like forced to hang out, do icebreakers, this and that. So I guess that was like the beginning step. And then, doing College Bound classes more and more and more. It just.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, camp is a big thing for a lot of folks, right?
Yeah.
Paige, how about you? What's a big impact that you can think of that College Bound had on your journey?
There's 2 things. Scholarships. My coach and also every coach, because they collaborate with all of us, they always encouraged me to get my work in on time, and that was a struggle for me with time management. Fill out my FAFSA, apply for scholarships. Without College Bound, I wouldn't have been able to apply for the Hillman Scholarship, which is renewable for 4 years, and I'm just so happy that I got that scholarship, because if I wasn't in College Bound, I wouldn't have been able to apply for it. Also, another big impact on me was when I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. I realized that I needed to seek out some help, and they have therapy here at College Bound, and I went to Holly, and Holly really helped me discover what works best for me, especially with coping mechanisms. Even today, I use some of the coping mechanisms that we worked on even 2 years ago.
That's great. I'm sure those will go with you to college if needed. That's great. That's great. Chris, how about you?
I'm kind of going to copy paste from what you said, but I would say for me, 2 of the most beneficial things that College Bound has done for me are financial aid, well, more like keeping up on task, because let's be honest, we're busy. We are busy people.
Sure.
And having to constantly keep up with things that we have to do that aren't exactly in our face every day, it can be a little bit of a doozy, and sometimes you can get tripped up on that. College Bound, with you guys, what you guys will do is ring, 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 ring-a-ring, Chris. You got this to do, you got this to do. And I'm like, yo, I would have never thought about that while I was dying to calculus. Another thing is therapy. With the advent of the pandemic, and even before that, things have been rough.
Yeah.
And you guys have come in and gotten us those necessary resources to help us sift through this crazy thing we call life.
Well, I'm glad you were able to take advantage of that, especially in pandemic. And I'd like to hear more about, I mean, you are not alone in having anything with the word calc, either before it or after it, and having some challenges. How did you work with College Bound to deal with your calculus class?
Well, besides you guys helping me out and like mapping my schedule whenever I was busy with things, you guys have reached out and helped me find tutoring people. I remember that was one question that I specifically remember me and a tutor were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to do an open note final for that one question was perfectly written out, and it saved me so much time. 5 minutes for one question, and it was done in like 30 seconds.
Well, congratulations on taming the dragon of calculus. Well done. Eric, how about you? Tell us any like strong College Bound memories that you have.
Yeah, so I would think, so when I first got to College Bound, it was during my interview. I was not excited to come to College Bound at all, but I think one thing that made me a little bit more happier was they offered me a snack. And if anybody know me, I like a good snack, so I thought that was super cool. I said, come here for a couple hours, get a nice snack, and then go off to soccer practice.
It's amazing how much a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos will do for people to get really excited about something.
I think, but I think when you first come to the second floor and you look to your left, you see a unisex bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I think that put me in the frame of mind where you want diversity, and where you look like you want to embrace that diversity in different places and encourage the environment to look like the city is in, or the place is in. And I thought that, overarching like every environment I go to, be an advocate for people who might necessarily have the same beliefs I do, but that everybody deserves to be in that environment and to feel safe. And I think that goes from, me having a gay mother, for the stuff that she taught me, for people, for being a Christian, just being an advocate for everybody in general. And I think that's been like the ethos that I've been going through my life.
That's good to hear that you experienced like that, because when we had, a few trans students at College Bound, and we started just asking some basic questions, and we said, well, this is a no-brainer. We need to do this, and then we need to make sure that we communicate it and we are smart about it. So I'm really proud of my team, especially I'm thinking of one of our coaches, Carissa, who really helped bring this up for us and helped us do that. So that's good to know. So guys, this isn't a job interview question. Well, it is a job interview question, kind of. But I'm wondering if you're thinking back, like let's go a little bit into the future. Let's talk 6 years from now. Like 6 years from now, what do you want the narrative to be of the last 6 years of your life? Like what will be true? What will we know? Chris, what about you?
This is a doozy. I don't have my time machine anymore. I sold it, but
I hope you got good money.
I think when it comes to me 6 years from the future, what I want to be sure about myself is that I'm still growing, and that I don't want that light that I have inside to die out. When it comes to me, I believe that you never know what somebody's going through. That smile or that positivity that you give them, it can work wonders. As life goes on, it throws you curveballs. I can't exactly say if I'll be like this uber expensive architect that's doing a million things and building Avengers Tower back after Ultron destroyed it. But what I will say that I want to do is I want to be growing. I want to be at a place where I myself feel like I am happy, that I still have room to grow, and that I will continue to grow.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Paige, how about you?
So 6 years from now, I'll be a WashU graduate. I'll have my 2 degrees in French and psychology, and I'll be in medical school. WashU is a big research institution, and I'll be doing research like I previously said. In the future, I definitely can see myself still be in contact with my coaches from College Bound and everyone who has had an impact on me today. I will definitely stay in contact with them. And I believe my narrative will most likely be someone who graduated from College Bound, had a full ride, and persisted through everything.
Paige, we are in advance proud of you. Every time we get more medical students at College Bound, you know, we had our first like 3 years ago, and we've had a couple more since then. We're very, the world needs more doctors, and especially doctors who have been smart and who understand the needs of people from many different backgrounds. So that's fantastic.
Thank you.
So Eric, how about you?
Yeah. So.
I mean, I don't know if Secretary of State is within 6 years.
Yeah.
Like you say, your goal is pretty high there, but
I think, you know, level of engagement. I think maybe getting, you know, experience, maybe working on Capitol Hill, you know, working in the state, local, national government, I think would be something that's really good. But I think overarching that I want to be able to say that I help close the gap in some way. If that's, you know, getting people more knowledge about historically Black colleges and university and the service they offer to our country. If it's about maybe teaching people about the culture of jazz and like how jazz is like a part of the American culture. When we think about African Americans, that's one of the biggest contributing factors that they gave to the country. If it's about, you know, being advocates for women and helping them, you know, get the parity that we need for them to be able to, you know, have, you know, the equality that man has. So I think in some way being an advocate for a group of people. But I think that I want to, like I said, I think I posted on Instagram last week. I said I want to win the Pulitzer Prize. I think I'm interning with Forbes right now as a writer. I want to be able to win the Nobel Peace Prize. So, you know, in some way, you know, seeing that I'm closer to those goals, and I think, you know, being a voice for our generation, and then also, you know, help my family slowly get up to that more and more, you know, like better than when I was born. So I think for me, that would be something I want to see in 6 years.
Eric, every time I talk to you, I get like a lot of people that would say the things like you would say, they would say them without the confidence and the clarity that you do. Like, I believe you that you really want to do these things, you know? And I think that the good news is seeing all the work that you've done up to this point. I mean, when I first talked to you about this, you said you had like 3 internships lined up over the summer.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Forbes. What are you doing with them?
So this is an interesting thing. The entrepreneur, Robert Smith, he was a Morehouse graduate. His advocacy in the conversation about, you know, the story about African American and the role they play in America, that it's been multiple factors that he's played in the opportunities that I have. So I would say that he has a company called Vista Equity Partners, and that they own different tech companies and stuff like that. So I interned with a company called Power School for 11 months, and it taught me a lot about leadership and how to do roles. And I think that, you know, for that, he had a conversation at the World Economic Forum with the chief content officer at Forbes, and had a conversation about how can you get more Black journalists in there. And, you know, I applied for it. I didn't think I was gonna get it, but I said, why not put my name in it? And then I got an interview. My writing newspapers and stuff like that wasn't necessarily the best, but I told them a story about me listening to ESPN radio, like SLU basketball games. When they was ranked, I think when I was in middle school, high school, they was ranked number top 10 in the country. And I said, like, yeah, I used to be a big fan. I used to go to all like the NCAA tournaments that came to St. Louis. And then that really pushed me over. So I've been trying to write stories with the like diversity and inclusion unit about like Black entrepreneurs, stuff that's going on, just trying to educate people and bring a voice. And that's been really fun.
Do you think elected office is something you might be interested in?
I'm not sure. I think one thing is that I want to do is I really want to bring trust back to like institutions in America. When you think about, you know, history, so like Smithsonian, getting people in our generation, more people to go to like that, trust in journalism, and, you know, how can you take the misinformation out of there? And then also for like institutions like politics, how can you be what you say you're gonna do, you do. So how can you put more pressure on officials to actually do what they're gonna say to do? So I think so. I think, you know, you have to be a manner where you have to actually, you know, have an interest in it, and it can't be something that you do just for fun. So I think if it's a notice there, and I can actually help people, then that could be something that.
That's amazing. So, Anai, how about you? 6 years from now, what's the narrative of yours going to be?
I'm sure them 6 years gonna fly, but hopefully I'll be off getting my master's degree. Hopefully I'm in some type of mentoring program, something like a Big Brother, Little Sis. I'm not quite sure what it's called, but something like that.
Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yeah.
They're great. They're a partner of ours.
Yeah.
We love them.
Definitely being a role model for others and just, like Chris said, still learning and just maturing still, because you're still kind of young, around 6 years, yeah. Still just beginning, be out there free in the world. So just learning and becoming myself, learning more about myself, and just being a role model for others.
Okay, now this is a question that's going to be slightly similar to one I just asked and slightly different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this one is, okay, now that you have graduated from wherever you have, community college, HBCU, high school, if you had advice from where you're sitting right now that you would give to the new sophomores joining College Bound, or let's say the new STLCC students who are in their first year, what advice would you give those folks? Okay?
Can I start?
You can start.
I would definitely say take advantage of everything that College Bound offers. Your coach, they are there to help you. You definitely need to take advantage of that, because they're just literally here to help you, for your future. Definitely join your classes, come to your classes, whatever one, just the main goal is just take advantage and you will do great.
Be active.
Yes.
Take advantage of what's out there.
Yes.
All right, Chris, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna take the baton. So, besides, do not get snacks from the bookstore. Those are overpriced. Besides that, my honest advice would be to work as hard as you can, but also don't be afraid to take some time out for yourself. Don't put too much on yourself either, because when you get out of high school, you'll think that, oh, I only had like 5 classes to do and that's pretty much it, and then I'm done for the day. No, when you get done with those classes, you are basically gassed. You'll need a senzu bean afterwards. That was the first experience that I've had dealing with college, and it's something that I also want to make sure that other people know. Maybe I'm different, but I would say that that's one of the things. And also to...
Burnout is a real thing.
Yes.
A lot of people can go, they're churning, and they don't even recognize it until it's too late, and then they're slipping behind, and we see this all the time.
Right, and that's why it's important to work hard, but not put too much on yourself, and understand that as you go, don't start from 100. Drake says you go from 0 to 100. He says real quick, but gotta be careful with that. You'll fall.
Yeah. Eric, what about you? What would you tell a sophomore in high school who's joining College Bound to do?
Well, I would say that you know yourself best. And I think that College Bound is a resource for you to use to evaluate what your future looks like. I think that, take about the things that you care about, that you value, that you want to do, and, integrate College Bound into that. And I think that you get the best output for what you want to do. I think that's what I did, and ultimately helped me be successful. That I feel like, is an organization that helped me. It didn't force me to go into this narrative like that. So just keep that concept when going into it.
Yeah, what I always say at these is again, at College Bound, our job is just to be a force multiplier to the greatness that's already there in our kids, right? It's about equalizing resources, because that's the challenge. Just because a student comes from a low-income background, just because they have a mental health issue, just because that they have a learning disability, it doesn't mean they can't succeed at rates commensurate to high-income peers, so long as that they have resources. And I'm just, that really, really does matter.
You guys have definitely done a really good job of getting us resources that we need. And every time that there's somebody new that I see at school that's like, oh, I'm a freshman here, you got any advice for me? I'm like, yo, let me whip out my phone, let me give you this advice to this person, let me put you through to her, so that way she can put you on game. Because College Bound, y'all definitely do that.
We'll have to get a recruitment finder's fee for you there, Chris, so thank you very much for doing that. Paige, how about you? What would you tell a sophomore in high school?
I would tell a sophomore that is joining College Bound to, like Anaya said, take advantage of all the opportunities that your coaches let you know about. I am so glad that I took the CBSI course that was offered through UMSL. I believe it was last summer. It was Introduction to Psychology, and taking that class helped me realize that I want to study psychology in college. I really appreciate that opportunity was offered to me. And I also would say text your coach back, because I'm very guilty of looking over messages and not always responding very quickly. But if you don't text them back, they'll call you and tell you, come on. Like, they'll give you reminders, but I would say definitely don't ignore the first text.
Well, listen, you all, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for taking the time out and to be able to share a little bit about who you are with everyone. I'm really excited for us in, a couple years to come back and report, that Chris is in his architecture program, that Anaya's in her occupational therapy program, that Eric has finished his graduate work and he's, on the Hill, and that Paige, you're in medical school. So I am just so looking forward, and I know everyone out there is also just deeply invested in you all and your success. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for having us.
So thank you to everyone for being here tonight for Cap and Gown. This was our first panel that we ever had, and I was just delighted to be able to work with so many amazing young people. Paige, Eric, Anaya, Chris, thank you all for being here. And we look forward to seeing you all next year face-to-face for Cap and Gown in June. Take care, everybody.